Love him or hate him, Donald Trump is one of the most unpredictable political figures in modern history. But before he was shaking up Washington, did you know he once tried to buy the world's largest casino in Macau? Or that he considered launching his own airline? Yeah, Trump Air could have been a thing. Fast forward to today, and he's still making headlines. This time with second-term promises that range from the bold to the outright bizarre. Whether it's orchestrating the largest mass deportation in U.S. history, revamping the education system, or even, wait for it, talking about taking control of the Gaza Strip, Trump's vision for another 4 years is anything but ordinary. In this video, we're breaking down some of the wildest, most controversial plans Trump has for a potential second term. Oh, and if you enjoy content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps out. Shortly after his hypothetical 2025 inauguration, the Trump administration wasted no time ramping up immigration enforcement. ICE agents hit the ground running, with daily arrests surging past 1,000 and climbing toward 1,500. At first glance, the focus seems to be on deporting criminals, but the sheer scale of the operation has sent shockwaves through immigrant communities. In cities like Chicago, Atlanta, and Miami, reports have emerged of families avoiding public spaces, some even keeping their kids home from school out of fear of ICE raids. And that's not all. Deportation flights are back. Countries like Venezuela, which hadn't received deportees in nearly a year, are now forced to take them back. Among the 200 individuals on these flights, alleged gang members and criminal suspects. Supporters argue that this is Trump making good on his promise to enforce immigration laws. Critics, however, call it a logistical nightmare, with reports of ICE detaining people with tenuous legal statuses and even U.S. citizens getting caught up in the sweep. If there's one thing Trump has always loved, it's tariffs. And in his second term, he's gone all in. Steel and aluminum, 25% tariff across the board. The goal? Reviving domestic manufacturing. The result? International partners fuming. The European Union has slammed the move, with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen vowing firm countermeasures to protect EU interests. Meanwhile, Canada and Mexico aren't holding back either, calling the tariffs unacceptable and unfair. But the real concern? The ripple effects. Economists are warning that these tariffs could trigger a global trade war, drive up consumer prices, and hit American wallets where it hurts. Major corporations like Siemens Energy and supermarket giant Ahold Delhaize are already hinting that higher costs will be passed on to consumers. And in true tit-for-tat fashion, Canada, Mexico, and the EU are gearing up for their own retaliatory tariffs, setting the stage for a high-stakes trade showdown. If there's one thing Trump has made clear, it's that he wants the federal government out of education. In his second term, he's going after the U.S. Department of Education, arguing that states should control their own school systems without what he calls radical federal interference. His claim, the department has been pushing a woke agenda and needs to go. But here's the catch. Completely abolishing the Department of Education would require Congress. And while Trump is drafting an executive order to severely limit its power, that's just the beginning of what could be a long and messy battle. And then there's this. The newly formed Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, led by none other than Elon Musk, has slashed nearly $1 billion in federal education contracts, gutting programs tied to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Supporters say this is a much-needed reform to cut waste and return power to local communities. Critics, however, argue that these cuts will disproportionately hurt low-income and marginalized students, further widening education gaps across the country. Either way, if Trump gets his way, the American education system is about to change in ways we've never seen before. Another controversial move? Trump has signed an executive order creating a task force to combat what he calls anti-Christian bias in the federal government. Led by Attorney General Pam Bondi, This new task force is designed to root out discrimination against Christians across federal agencies, from the DOJ to the IRS and even the FBI. And that's not all. Trump's order also calls for a presidential commission on religious liberty, a new White House faith office led by Paula White Cain, ensuring that religious organizations have a direct line to policymaking. To Trump's base, this is a major victory for religious freedom. But critics warn that this blurs the line between church and state, potentially favoring certain religious groups over others. The big question? Where does this lead, and who gets left behind? If you thought Trump's second-term policies were just about deportations and trade wars, think again, because he also wants to build 10 brand new cities from scratch. Yes, you heard that right. Under his Agenda 47 policy platform, Trump has unveiled an ambitious plan to develop freedom cities on undeveloped federal land. The goal? Hubs of innovation, flying cars, a new era of American progress to Trump. These cities will revitalize the economy, push America to the forefront of futuristic industries, and inspire a new generation of technological advancement. But let's be real. Flying cars? Not exactly something you can just roll out overnight. Critics say the plan is borderline science fiction, with huge feasibility concerns and an eye-watering price tag. Still, Trump is betting big on this vision. The only question is, can it actually happen? We already covered this topic in the previous video, so if you need an in-depth dive into it, please check it out. Why? Strategic location. Greenland sits between North America and Europe, making it a military and geopolitical goldmine. Untapped resources, it's rich in minerals, oil, and rare earth metals. Expanding U.S. influence, because what's one more star on the flag, right? But here's the problem. Denmark and Greenland are having none of it. Danish and Greenlandic officials have flat out rejected the idea, emphasizing Greenland's autonomy and their people's desire to stay independent. And the world? Skeptical at best, laughing at worst. International debates have flared up over whether buying a territory in the 21st century is ethical, let alone realistic. Trump's response? Still pushing for it. Will he get his wish? Highly unlikely. But if there's one thing we've learned, Trump never lets go of an idea once he's got it. And if Greenland wasn't bold enough, Trump has another idea that has sent shockwaves through the world. He's proposing that the United States take control of the Gaza Strip, with plans to transform it into the Riviera of the Middle East. Yes, you heard that right. The plan? Evacuate the entire 2 million Palestinian residents, relocate them to Egypt and Jordan, redevelop Gaza into a luxury coastal paradise, because apparently that's the solution. The reaction? Absolute outrage. International law experts and human rights organizations are calling this a blatant violation of international law, with some even using the phrase ethnic cleansing. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres slammed the proposal, warning that it would exacerbate regional tensions and destroy any chance of peace. Egypt and Jordan's leaders have firmly rejected it, warning it would destabilize the entire region. Jordan's King Abdullah II told Trump directly that his country cannot and will not take in more refugees. And inside Gaza itself, total defiance. Palestinians have vowed to resist any forced displacement, calling it a direct attack on their homeland and history. Even some of Trump's allies aren't sure what to make of this one. Could this plan ever become reality? Almost certainly not. But does it show just how far Trump is willing to go in shaking up global politics? Absolutely. Whether you think Trump's policies are groundbreaking or completely outrageous, one thing is certain: he's not playing it safe. From mass deportations and economic battles to futuristic cities and territorial ambitions, his administration is pushing boundaries like never before. But now it's your turn. What do you think? Are these bold moves the future America needs? Or are they a disaster waiting to happen? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next breakdown of the biggest stories shaping the world today. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.